prompts an interesting question to me that's kind of been swirling in my head throughout this conversation. So as a family, you all have been through great peaks and really low valleys. You've had great moments of hope and a moment of despair that really, unless you've been through it, none of us could certainly imagine. What do you make of all that? What do you take away from that in terms of the meaning of life?
She looks at me like,
Wow.
So you take this one.
Yeah.
Well, it's
It's a learning process.
it is, and you just don't know what you'll face in life. There's
You
There's
don't.
no guarantees in this world what you'll have to face, and but for us, the Lord, we know He's got our backs. No matter what it is, whatever we face, He'll help
And He
us through
didn't
it.
do this to hurt us.
No, He grew
No.
us in this. We
Um,
would never do this kind of a thing if it wasn't
No.
for, Chelsea and Lily, and I've talked at churches, which I was never done by
Never.
myself.
We
up
were just
there.
a young couple in love. We were just
Yeah.
going to get
Yeah.
married and be happy.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Michael and I have often said if people were standing up at the altar on their wedding day, if they
Oh,
knew
my.
what was going to happen to them as
How
a married
true.
couple, would we
If
do
you
it?
watch
Right.
it flash
Yeah.
before your
We'd be
eyes,
like, no way,
pick me somebody
Yeah,
else.
but like, because life is hard, and
It
is.
you're going to get something, and it is. It's
We never blamed, I don't know the statistics between the death of a child and a married couple. I know it's very high.
it's very high. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that we would have changed anything. I wouldn't have changed having her. I mean, and knowing her. I don't. It changed you. It changes you in ways you just can't describe.
Yeah.
And the grief. I was telling Bruce before we did this interview, and I said, I guess the best way to describe it is it's like an open sore. And when you talk about the story, it's happy on one side
Yep.
because you get to talk about her, but on the other side, it's like ripping a piece of tape off of that every time
Yep.
because it never goes away.
Yeah.
And like I said, God did not do this to be mean to us or because He wanted to hurt us. He has a purpose, and I know that someday He'll show me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when I see her again, none of it'll matter.
Right.
Right.
See,
Right.
other-
Losing a child, kind of you walk through the door and it slams behind you, and your life is never the same again ever. Nothing is the same once you've lost a child.
And you'll look at other children that are kind of that age, and you'll think, I wonder if her hair would have
Right.
stayed that color, or
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. And I just can't stress enough that Lily has brought us so much joy. But I still go to the graveyard. I still decorate the grave because you always wonder, well, what if?
She's your baby.
Right. Yeah. And you think, there are people that lose parents, and I've lost my dad, and that kind of death is different, and it doesn't mean that I loved him less, but he was a grown man.
Yeah.
He lived
Had
a
a good
full
life.
life,
Yeah.
and it's just different when it's your child.
Because that's not supposed to happen.
Right. It's the worst thing in the world to bury your child and watch your 5-year-old grieve at his sister's grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you have remarkable strength, and neither one of you are wearing superhero capes, which means that
No.
as parents, you do have strength, and you can get through the things that are challenging in life. And I think that's a beautiful part of this story, is that pain happens. It happens in all lives in some way, in some manner, like we just discussed. But you can get through it.
You can.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean the memory doesn't go away.
It doesn't.
You know.
It never
Never.
will.
But there's a lot of joy in your life.
Oh, sure.
And I know
Sure.
that because I interact with you enough
Sure.
to know that you guys are.
It's hard thinking about Kurt leaving in 2 years. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's so difficult thinking about him being away because him and I were so close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce, I don't know if you feel this way. One of my challenges is I worry about what will happen with Sarah when I'm not here anymore. And that if there's one thing that keeps me up at night, it's worrying about that. Do you worry about the same thing? Do you think about that at all?
I thought about it before. We look at Lily how she is now, and we wonder, what her abilities will be. You just never know, and so we just have to trust in the Lord He's going to take care of this problem. He's going to.
Oh, I have a rosy picture in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just imagine her living with maybe another girl with Down syndrome, and their aide coming in to visit
Yep.
them and help them every day, and and kind of overseeing them, and I
And
always
you're
am
close by, and
Yeah, and Kurt's he's the type of child that I can't imagine that he wouldn't step up.
yeah.
If something happens
Yeah.
to us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same, and like you, I try to just remember that Sarah is God's child before she's my child,
Yes.
and He is not going to let her fail.
Right.
So I just try to take comfort in that, and yet the human side of me still worries about it.
It's the protector. You
Yeah.
you want to protect them, and
And sometimes you just
Keep
gotta
them
let them
safe.
go, because they have to live their lives too. It is such a balancing act of handing them over to Him every day, and yet taking care of them.
it's
and
a
being
different
there.
transition, isn't
Yep,
it?
it is. It is. Well, thank you so much,
You're
you
welcome.
guys, for sitting on the couch with us and talking, because I know it's hard.
Sure.
And but it is a beautiful story, and
Thank you.
and I really appreciate it. And
We don't want anybody to feel sorry for us. That is not why. We just want to encourage people that it's going to be okay.